Well, it's summertime, and that means several things. First of all, storms. I've been trying to make this video for several days, but it seems like every time I get on the bike and look at the radar, there's a storm coming. But the second thing summer means to me is I'm a teacher, so I'm on summer vacation, which means lots of time for riding my e-bike. And I'm especially excited this summer because I have a brand new e-bike. Well, I have about 500 miles on it now, but it's a new e-bike and I'm loving it. So today I thought I would tell you a little bit about this bike and then take you on a ride. This is the Aventon Aventure 2 electric bike. I got this bike, I guess it was in early March, and I now have about 500 miles, a little over 500 miles on it. And I just love riding this bike. There are many good reviews about it on the internet, so I won't go through all the specs about it, but I will just say a few things. First of all, I do like the 26" by 4 tires. They do absorb a lot of the impact, especially when you're riding on grass. And also, of course, it has some front suspension. Also, this bike has something called a torque sensor, which means that the harder you pedal, the more effort you put into the pedals, the more power assist you get from the bike. Unlike something called a cadence sensor, in which just turning the pedals, even if you don't have any resistance, still engages the motor. So you get a little bit more of a workout on this bike, which I think is good. I actually get some exercise. And then also the range on this is pretty incredible. I know that I could get on relatively flat ground probably 40 to 50 miles on this bike in pedal assist level 2. Obviously, if I had it in a higher level of assist, I wouldn't get quite the range. And this has a rear hub motor, 750 watt. My old bike, the electric XP, had a 500 watt, and this has a 750 watt hub motor. And it definitely needs more power because this is a heavy bike. This bike, even without the saddlebags and other accessories, weighs, I think, around 75 pounds. And it does have 4 levels of pedal assist. There's the Eco, and then Tour, Sport, and then Turbo. And I usually ride in the second level, which is Tour. We do have a left-hand thumb throttle on this bike. We have hydraulic disc brakes, which is an upgrade from my old bike, which had mechanical disc brakes. And overall, I just love this bike. It rides very well. I have done a few things with accessories. I did put on a Sun Tour suspension seat post, and that helps a lot, especially when I'm off the pavement. And this does help a lot. And then also I put on some ergon grips, which are a little bit more flattened. The original grips on this bike are round, and quite honestly, I didn't like them. Didn't fit my hands very well, but these actually, I can rest my palm on there. I don't always have to have my hands curled around the grips, and I really like those. That was a good investment. And then I have some other accessories that, well, like the mirror. This is a McTuning end mirror. I really like that. And then I had my light, and the saddlebags were from my old bike. But no, this has been a great bike so far. So let's go on a ride. Good thing about an e-bike is in a lot of situations it can actually keep up with traffic. These guys pull out in the intersection. So I bought my first e-bike about 4 years ago, right before the pandemic started. And it was the Electric XP. I have no complaints about that bike. It's been a great bike. That bike was about $900. But I had a few concerns that I may ride it a few times and it's just going to sit in my garage and collect dust. And I found out actually that I love to ride. So 4,000 miles later, I decided to go ahead and upgrade. This bike is twice as expensive, but it has, as I mentioned earlier, better components and more power. And I just love to ride. Here's one of my favorite hills right here. Usually I can hit about 25 at least going down this hill if there's no one coming up the hill. Here we go. There's 27, 29, 30, 31. There's just a back road back here that belongs to the city. I think I'll take it back here and explore a little bit. Well, maybe not. There's a tree in the way. I don't think I can get around that no matter what. I guess some of those storms that we had brought that tree down. Well, I'm lucky to live in a city that is very bike friendly and bike lanes on a lot of the roads. There's a very nice greenway to ride on, and usually my rides are 20 to 25 miles now because I get better range on this bike. But I like being able just to leave my driveway and hit the road and take a nice bike ride. And some people don't like riding on roads, and I can understand that with cars and distracted drivers and all. But one thing about this bike is if you plan to transport it, you'll have to buy, as with other e-bikes, because they're heavy bikes, and you'll have to buy a very sturdy rack that is designed for e-bikes. And those racks are very expensive. Usually they're about $500 or more to buy the bike rack, and then you also have to have a trailer hitch on your vehicle to put the rack on there to carry the bike. So that would be a consideration if you're going to buy a bike like this that does not fold up and you can't fit easily in your car or the back of a truck. And one other thing is this bike would be kind of difficult to steal unless someone knew what they were doing, because as I mentioned earlier, this bike is 75 pounds. It's very difficult to pedal if you don't have the hub motor going. So you have to know the startup sequence, and most thieves wouldn't know what to do. Press that button one time, come up here and hold this middle button for 3 seconds, and even then you still don't have any power because you have to know to push this button. So if somebody just tried to jump on this bike like it was a regular bike, they wouldn't get very far before they would just give up, to be honest with you. Well, these fat tires aren't really made for mountain biking or anything like that. I mean, they look pretty tough and sturdy and all, but the truth is, again, this is a heavy bike, and Yeah, I wouldn't take it on some rough trails that are designed specifically for mountain bikes, but the fat tires do great in this grass situation. And that suspension seat post really helps a lot, or I would probably be almost jarred off the bike. I would say probably 90-95% of my riding is actually on pavement. And some people do get the pavement, the smooth tires for riding on pavement. But I like to have the knobbies on here. I think it looks pretty good, number one. And then number two, sometimes I will cut across through a park or take a little trail or something like that. And they always do a good job for me. I mentioned the torque sensor a little bit earlier, and how I have to put in more effort to get going. The more effort you put in, the more power you get. And I will admit, first couple of days I wasn't so sure about it because it seemed like I was working harder. But now I've learned how to use the torque sensor and have a little bit better technique with my riding and my shifting, and now I really like it. And in fact, I rode my old bike with the cadence sensor a few days ago, and it just felt very strange. So I definitely do like the torque sensor now. I'm gonna let these cars go through the intersection and I'll just jump in behind. All right, got the green light. See some road rage back there, I guess. I'm gonna let all these guys go. I try to stay out of the way of traffic. He wasn't beeping at me. But this is what happens when you ride during rush hour. It took me a little while also to get used to the left-hand thumb throttle. My old bike has a right side twist grip. In my first couple of rides, I found myself trying to twist a throttle that wasn't there. But now I'm used to it. I like it. Just takes some time to get used to a new bike or a new car or anything like that. Develop some muscle memory. Some railroad tracks. Uh-oh. Something fell out of my saddlebag. That was my selfie stick fell out. I'll just throw it back in there and hope for the best. We're going to go down an amazing hill. Here we go. See how fast we can get down this hill. 28, 29, 30.